Seniors, I want you to pause for a second, wherever you are right now, whatever you're doing. I need you to listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you isn't a tip or a trick or some internet health hack. This is something I've seen quietly change, and in some cases save, people's lives. And I don't say that lightly. Not to scare you, not to grab attention. I mean it literally. A few years ago, late one evening, I got a phone call I'll never forget. A patient's spouse was on the line, voice shaking. He went to bed feeling fine, she said. He never woke up. High blood pressure, silent, unnoticed. Controlled, according to the chart. That's the part most people don't understand. High blood pressure doesn't usually announce itself. It doesn't scream. It whispers. And while you're living your life, cooking dinner, watching TV, getting ready for bed, it's quietly wearing down your blood vessels, stressing your heart, starving your brain of oxygen, and setting the stage for something sudden and devastating. Tonight, I'm going to tell you about a simple 2-minute habit you can do in your kitchen before bed, using something many people already have at home. Not a supplement, not a workout, not another pill. 2 minutes. And when people do this consistently, not perfectly, just consistently, I've seen blood pressure drop 15, 20, sometimes even 25 points within weeks. But here's the part that makes people angry when they realize it. This isn't new. This isn't experimental. This isn't alternative. The research has been published for years, major medical journals, peer-reviewed studies, solid, repeatable science. And yet, almost no one is ever told, not by their primary doctor, not by their cardiologist, not by their pharmacist. And in a few minutes, I'll explain exactly why. But before I tell you what the habit is, you need to understand what high blood pressure is really doing inside your body right now, because most people don't. They think, I feel okay. They think, the pills are handling it. They think, if something was wrong, I'd know. But the damage happening inside your arteries is silent, painless, and far more serious than most people realize. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you'll know. The 2-minute kitchen habit, why it works at a cellular level, and a full system of simple food-based habits that work together so powerfully that some people under medical supervision are able to reduce medication. And you deserve to know this. But I'm not starting with the habit. I'm starting with something that will permanently change how you think about your blood pressure number. Let me tell you about someone I once cared for. She was in her early 70s when she first sat across from me. She'd been on blood pressure medication for over a decade. It started with one pill. Her numbers were borderline, nothing urgent, just being cautious. She took that pill faithfully every morning, never missed a dose, did exactly what she was told, but her numbers crept up anyway, so another pill was added, then another. By the time I met her, she was taking 3 medications at full dose, and her blood pressure was still dangerously high. But what concerned me even more wasn't the number on the cuff. It was her life. She couldn't sleep anymore, not real sleep. She'd lie awake for hours, exhausted but wired, and when she finally drifted off, her body would jolt awake, not to use the bathroom, not from pain, just alert, like an alarm that wouldn't shut off. She hadn't slept through the night in years. Her energy was gone. Simple tasks felt heavy. Her body felt like it was moving through mud. She used to love being active, walking, gardening, being outdoors. Now, by noon, she needed to lie down. By late afternoon, she was barely functioning. Her hands sometimes trembled, just enough that she noticed, enough that she felt embarrassed, enough that she stopped inviting friends over for dinner. Her memory scared her the most, forgetting words mid-sentence, repeating stories without realizing it, standing in the kitchen wondering whether she'd already taken her pills. She had watched her own mother disappear into dementia years earlier, and now she was terrified she was next. She sat quietly and cried, not dramatic, just exhausted, and she said something that still echoes in my mind. I feel like I'm slowly disappearing, and nobody can tell me why. That's when I told her the truth. Your blood pressure is not the problem. It's the warning light. It's the smoke alarm, and we've been silencing it instead of putting out the fire. Over the next couple of weeks, we looked deeper, beyond what standard blood pressure care usually checks, and what we found was painfully clear. Her blood vessels were damaged, inflamed, stiff. The inner lining of her arteries, something called the endothelium, wasn't functioning properly anymore, and that matters more than almost anything else. Your endothelium is a single-cell thick layer lining every blood vessel in your body. One cell thick. That's all that separates your blood from your artery walls. But those cells are not passive. They are active, intelligent, constantly working. Their most important job is producing a molecule called nitric oxide. Remember that name. Nitric oxide is what tells your blood vessels to relax, to open, to let blood flow smoothly. When nitric oxide is abundant, blood pressure stays balanced. When it's low, vessels stay tight, and pressure rises. As we age, especially with processed food, high blood sugar, chronic stress, poor sleep, and inflammation, nitric oxide production drops, sometimes by half. And no pill can fully fix that. Medications can force numbers down, they can move fluid, they can block signals, but they do not repair the damaged lining of your arteries. That's why so many people keep adding medications, while their pressure still creeps higher. That's when I knew what her body actually needed. Not another prescription, something from her kitchen. But before I told her what it was, I explained why it worked, because understanding creates consistency. And that brings us to the habit. The 2-minute kitchen habit is this: a small glass of beetroot juice before bed. That's it. About 8 ounces, 30 seconds to pour, 30 seconds to drink. Beetroot is naturally rich in nitrates, which your body converts into nitric oxide through a beautifully simple pathway involving your mouth, your stomach, and your blood vessels. Within an hour, nitric oxide levels rise. Blood vessels relax. Blood pressure drops, not temporarily, but progressively when done night after night. Studies consistently show meaningful reductions, especially in people over 60. And here's why bedtime matters. Blood pressure naturally rises during the early morning hours, exactly when heart attacks and strokes are most likely to occur. Drinking beetroot juice before bed supports nitric oxide production during your most vulnerable window. But beetroot juice is just the anchor. What changed her life, and many others, was the system around it. Vitamin C to protect nitric oxide, leafy greens to provide more nitrates, potassium to balance sodium, magnesium to relax blood vessels, garlic to activate nitric oxide production, omega-3s to calm inflammation, even dark chocolate, real dark chocolate, to support the same pathways. Simple foods, real foods, affordable foods, nothing extreme, nothing complicated, and when she added these, gradually, gently, consistently, something remarkable happened. She started sleeping through the night, her energy returned, her mind cleared, her blood pressure dropped, steadily, naturally, and under supervision, medications were reduced, not because her body was fixed overnight, but because it was finally given what it needed to heal. That's what I want you to understand. You are not broken, you are not doomed, and you are not powerless. Your body still knows how to heal. It's been waiting, quietly, for the right raw materials, and tonight, they're sitting in your kitchen.